Okay, welcome to Accelerated Math. Find sums of arithmetic series. This is kind of one of my favorites because it's a little story about Carl Gauss that you may have heard in your math class. A little, I don't know if he was like 6 years old or 7 years old, first grade, rambunctious boy. Teacher was frustrated with him, and teacher basically told him to go sit in the corner and add up the numbers 1 through 100. And teacher thought he'd be busy for a while, but just like moments later, Carl came back and gave him the answer, and it was correct. Basically what he said was, I want you to add up the numbers 1 through 100. So you had to do 1 plus 2 plus 3 and so forth until he got up to 100. Well, a couple different thoughts on how he did this, but we're going to look at the sum of a series, and the sum of a series is given with this formula where it's the number of terms in the series times the first term plus the last term, a sub 1 plus a sub n, divided by 2. And basically what this is this is getting an average of the first and the last and multiplying it times the number of terms in the sequence. So what old Carl did was he said, hey, I got the first term and the last one. He paired them up and he said 1 plus 100, and he divided that by 2 to get an average. So he came up with 101 divided by 2, or 50.5, as an average, and then he multiplied that times the number of terms. Remember, the n was out there, the number of terms, and there were 100 terms in there, and that basically moved the decimal over 2 places. So he came up with a total of 5,050, and the teacher was pretty astonished. So we're going to do similar stuff to this. Luckily, we don't have to figure it out on our own. But we're looking at the sum of a series, and in this particular one, they tell us that they want the first 18 terms. So they're saying n, the number of terms, is 18. So n stands for the number of terms in the series or the sequence, and it's an arithmetic progression. It means it goes up a steady amount. In fact, they call that steady amount the common difference, and we're going to use the variable d for that. Alright, and they say if the first term is negative 3, so a sub 1, that's a way of saying the first term in the series, and a standing for arithmetic series. And the first term is negative 3 with a common difference of negative 2. That means it's going down by 2's. So we got negative 3, the next one goes down by 2, so it's negative 5, negative 7, dot dot dot. That progression continues until you get to the 18th term. Well, in order for us to find the sum of that, we need the 18th term out here. I don't know what the 18th term is, so we're going to have to use a formula to find the 18th term first before we can find the sum of the series. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this stuff, I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit and put it together and move it over a little bit. Alright, so we'll call upon that in just a minute. So the first thing we need, so we need this 18th term out here. So there's another formula that you're probably familiar with, and it comes in several different varieties, ways that it looks. If you want to know the a sub the nth term of an arithmetic sequence, you take the first term and add n minus 1, the number of terms in the series, minus 1, times the common difference. And I've seen this several different ways, like this, the common difference out here, and then I've also seen it, I think, where it's the common difference times n minus 1 plus a sub 1. I don't know. I like them all, but you probably hate them all, right? Alright, anyway, so let's use one of these. They're all just different varieties, and it just depends on which one you want to use. They all do the exact same thing. So we had a common difference of negative 2. So if we're going to find the a sub 18th term, we got a common difference of negative 2, and we were looking for 18. We have 18 terms in the series, and we know that the first term is, what was the first term? Negative 3 plus negative 3, or minus 3. Alright, now I'm going to just simplify this. 18 minus 1, of course, is 17. Still have the negative 2, and I'm going to change that to negative 3 right there. Negative 2 times 17 is negative 34, and I still have the minus 3, slash slash, negative 37. So the 18th term is negative 37. Now we have what we need to go in this sum of the series. And so it's a two-step deal. We're going to use this formula over here to find the 18th term. Now that we have that, we're going to use this information. Let's see, I think we just need this information, plus the number of terms. For the sum of the series, so the sum of a series is equal to n times the average of the first and the last, and that's it. Alright, so n, there were 18 terms, and the first term was -3, the last term was -37. We get an average of those. So -3 plus -37 is equal to, so this is going to be 18 times -40 divided by 2. Alright, -40 divided by 2 comes out to -20, and we're going to multiply that times 18. I believe that comes out to -360, and that's it. That's all. You can do the stuff with the calculator if you need to. -360. Whew. A two-step deal. So let's take a look at a few more so you can get comfortable with these things. Okay, I got two of them on here because I'm not going to go through both of them completely, but they want you to find the sum, and the common difference is basically how much it goes up or down. In this case, it's going up, so the common difference is 2. A lot of people get a little confused with that wording, common difference, and they're thinking it's got to be negative because difference means subtract, but it's the difference between the first term and the second term. Here, it's going down. The common difference is -4. Here, it's -4, and so forth. Alright, so if we have to find the sum of this series, remember that the formula is the sum of the series is equal to the number of terms times the first plus the last divided by 2. That's getting an average of them and multiplying times the number of terms. I know the first and I know the last, so I can fill this out. Sum of the series is equal to, but I don't know the number of terms. So I'm going to have to put that on hold. But I do know 15 plus 85, and I'm going to divide that by 2. 15 plus 85 is 100. Divided by 2, that's going to be 50. So I'm just going to multiply 50 times how many ever terms there are. Now let's go back to that other formula and see if we can find out the number of terms. It says the last term, a sub n, is equal to, remember there were 3 different flavors of this. I kind of like the common difference times n minus 1 plus the first term formula myself. Alright, so a sub n, the last one, so I'm filling in what I know. I know the common difference is 2. I do not know how many there are, and I know the first term is 15. So I'm going to simplify this and solve for that n variable in there. Simplify, I'm going to start by doing distributive property. So I got 2n minus 2 plus 15. It's still equal to 85. And now I'm going to combine some like terms here, -2 and +15. So I've got 85 is equal to 2n plus 13. Now I've got it pretty simple into kind of like a 7th grade, 8th grade type equation. And I'm going to solve this. So I'm going to do minus 13 from both sides. Running out of space, I get 72 is equal to 2n. I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides, and I get n is equal to 36. Alright, so there are 36 terms in the sequence. So now here where I had an n, I'm going to put the 36. 36 times 50 is, I believe, 1800. Yeah, because 36 times 100 would be 3600. Half of that, so 1800. Whew. Alright, so same deal down here. I just wanted to make the note about the common difference. So these things they're a little bit complicated because you got 2 steps. You got to know those formulas. Find the sum of the first 20 terms. So they tell us how many. That's n. The first term is 2. That's a sub 1. And the common difference of 3. I was hoping they would tell me the last term. Now I got to figure it out. So first thing I'm going to do is figure out the last term, because I need to know a sub n to be able to do this sum of the series. So sum of the series is equal to the number of terms in the sequence times the first plus the last divided by 2. Alright, but I can't fill that out because I'm missing one piece of information. Let's see which piece I'm missing. We know there's 20 terms, and we know the first term is 2. We don't know the last term, but we do know the common difference. So let's see what we got here. So we got to go with this formula. the nth term is equal to sorry for that little interruption. Let's see, a sub n. Okay, so the last term is equal to the common difference times, oops, my board's lagging a little bit. Common difference times n minus 1 plus the first term. Let me fill in what I know. I don't know that last term, but I do want to know it. So a sub n is equal to the common difference of 3 times 20 terms minus 1 plus the first term of 2. Alright, so it's 3 times 19 plus 2. 3 times 19, I believe, is 57. And plus 2, so it's going to be 59. So the last term is 59. So I'm back to this formula for the sum of the series. 20 terms, get the average, 61 divided by 2. 61 divided by 2 is 30 and a half, or 30.5. Whoops. And we're going to multiply that times 20. Alright, times 10 would move that decimal place 1, so it would be 305. Times 20 is just twice as many as that, so 305 doubled, so 610 should be the sum of the series. We got it. And last one, but not least, because it's got this little theater problem. A 60-row theater. 60 rows. That tells me how many terms I've got. Alright, it has 30 seats in the front row. Front row, that's the first term. Second row has 31. So a sub 2 is equal to 31. How much is it going up by each time? That's the common difference. It's going up by 1. If each row has one more than the row in front of it, which they just showed us, how many seats are there in the theater? Okay, so it's how many seats in all. It's the sum of a series. We got 60 rows times, you know what, we need the first one, 30, plus the last one, don't know. Well, there's 60 rows. If the first one has 30, I don't know. It gets a little complicated in terms of this, exactly what that number is. I can figure it out, but I'm going to go and use the formula to do it, and then we're going to divide by 2 because we're going to get an average. So we need this. Alright, so let's go get that. That's a sub n equals the common difference times n minus 1 plus the first term. Alright, a sub n, of course we don't know that, but we want to know it. Common difference of 1. N, whoops, not n, the number, that was 60 rows, so 60 minus 1 plus the first row had 30 seats in it. Alright, I want one of those front row seats. 1 times 59 plus the 30, so we get 59, nice easy math. 89, it'd be bad if I made a mistake there. Tell you how easy it is. So 89 is the last row. Alright, and now we're going to go 60. We got 30 plus 89 is 119. Dividing that by 2. If it was 120 divided by 2, it would be a nice easy 60. But it's not. It's 59.5. Yuck. Times 60. And I believe it's this one. Let me double check my math. 60 times 59.5. 60 times 59.5. 3570. That's where we are. Alright, I think that's it. Have fun with that one. Make sure you do both steps. Alright, enjoy.